So here we are in Japan, in the middle of Tokyo, Akihabara, and Austria. That got done by the yes, picked up a lot of good deals, but before that, it was a bust in Italia. But here we are on the home run, and this is the country where people generally chuck out their used stuff. So a lot of the times I turn trash into treasure, but when it comes to Japan, I'm gonna be turning tarnished silver into gold. So first off, we're gonna start off here, then later on we're gonna get a car and then head around and pick up them deals. But also got in late last night, crashed out, and now I'm in the middle of Tokyo, and there was a place here that does really good exchange rates near the mid-market rates. So I'll put the link in the description below. If you're in Japan, give these guys a call in advance. They speak English and organize to get your money changed over here so you don't get ripped off. But with all that out of the way, get your used parts hunting capes on and let's go find them deals. Now generally if you're in Tokyo, there's going to be a lot more competition when it comes to getting used price performance deals. As we go out of the city, you'll find out there'll be a lot better bargains going on. But right behind me now is a place called Skumo, which generally in the past I've gotten a lot of decent deals out of this place, especially for graphics cards. So we're going to go on inside, see what they got on the shelves, and especially since the Logan Paul thing, YouTubers are generally frowned upon in Japan, so if we can sneak some footage in, we will. So we just got out of Skumo and that place was a gold mine. So we just picked up an X79 motherboard, UP4. Got this for about 150 US, I think, if I had to do the calculations right. I'll put all the prices up on the screen anyway, but we ended up getting also a 6-core, 12-threaded 7800X, a GTX 780, and a GTX 980, as well as a 16 gigabyte kit of DDR3 memory. Now, I did manage to get a 5% discount out of them on top of the fact that I don't pay any tax because I'm a foreigner on a tourist visa. So we just got an absolute bargain on all these parts. Now, the good thing is we just got that 3930K in Austria. So that coupled with the X79 motherboard, coupled with the memory, we got ourselves a bare bones 6-core 12-threaded kit here. But man, what a bargain already. The first store we've walked into, already cleaned up, and now we're gonna continue around and see what else we can find here in the beautiful land of Tokyo. So we just got out of this place called Shop Inverse, and they had some really good deals on systems. Mainly the two that I saw had i7-4770s, DDR3 memory, motherboards, 1TB hard drives. They were going for a little under $300. So if I lived close to this place, I would definitely be going in somewhere like here and just gutting all these systems, because they got some really good deals. There was also an X5675 in there. Of course, being traveling today, I can't really carry around a whole system with me, so we're gonna keep on looking, see what the other stores have. So we just got out now of Softmap and went to a few other places just before that, and they're new parts mainly, and the prices of new parts seem to still be quite expensive, especially for new graphics cards. They all have the keyboards and mice on display, so a pretty good thing. But this time with Softmap, when we went into the used floor section, it was very weird. Like, I did manage to get a 3930K for 8,000 yen, which is a really good price. They even had one more on the shelves, but we already picked one up in Austria, so I've already got two 3930Ks. But another thing they had on the shelves was like 2,000 yen for a motherboard, and I thought, wow, that's great, I'm gonna put that in the kitty. But after that, I then found out the thing doesn't even turn on. And then we had a graphics card, a 660 Ti, that was 4,000 yen, and they said there was no signal coming out of it. So I'm thinking to myself, why are they even selling this stuff? Because usually they just mark that clearly as junk, because they want nothing to do with it. But they have this stuff in the shelves, like in the glass shelves. So very weird, maybe times are getting desperate, who knows. But let's go now across the road to a place called Dos Para and see what they've got. So we just ended up getting out of DOS Power, and that place was pretty much a bust, except for one thing, and they had i7 970s in there, and I picked one of these up for around 60 bucks. And now the difference between these and a Xeon is that these CPUs will pretty much work in any x58 motherboard. Now, George from JDM PC Sales in the Can Yes Fix It episode, you may have seen him send over an x58 motherboard. This didn't work with the Xeon, the 6-core 12-threaded Xeons. So that's why I'm specifically getting one of these CPUs, so I can chuck it into that motherboard and still have a 6-core 12-threaded CPU to play around with. Now, just across the road here is another store that is actually doing even better prices on whole systems than the shop inverse that we saw before. So if you're into gutting out PCs, this place would definitely be worth a look. They've got x58 rigs going for around about $60. And then they've got P55 machines going for around $40. So the prices are really good at that store in particular. If I had a ute, I'd definitely be pulling up here and just pretty much cleaning the place out. But anyway, let's try and find a few more stores in Akihabara, as I'm pretty much ready to go, as I've filled up all the luggage, got all the deals out of here, and I've at least checked around all the places that I know have good used price performance. But we'll see what else we can find. If we don't, we'll just jump on a train and get on out of here. So I just got on the train about an hour out, and we've gotten out of Tokyo, and Tokyo is great for sightseeing, but for living it's really crammed. So I'm just going to my friend's house now, and this will conclude day one of the deals hunting. But before I got on out of here, I checked the hard off, and that was a bust. I also went to the soft map new place to see if they got some new parts, and they did have graphics cards. Of course, they're overpriced, but another thing as well, there's a lot of mining cards stacking up at some of these places that sell secondhand parts. 1070s, 1070 Ti's, RX 570s, there's a lot of them. So you can expect prices to come down soon because there's a crunch, and when there's a lot of stock taking up shelf space, they'll need to clear it sooner or later. On the other hand as well, I did see the Microsoft IntelliMouse as well. I didn't realize they refreshed this, but this is an absolutely phenomenal mouse, at least back in the day. Remember when Microsoft used to make hardware, it was more like they should have called their company MicroHard, because that's what I was getting when I was using some of their products back in the day. So hopefully I'll reach out to Rocket Jump Ninja and see if we can take a look at that new mouse. But with that aside, we're gonna get some rest, and then we're gonna jump on in the car and go for the real hunt. So here we are now on the next day, and I've got my little boy, he's coming with us, he's gonna come hunting, and I've also got Damien. You may remember him from previous vlogs where we've gone around parts hunting in Japan, and we're actually using his car today, so big thanks to Damien for doing that. And yeah guys, this is the first hard off that we're at now. We're gonna go inside, see if we can find some deals. I'm gonna be looking for PC parts, and Damien's gonna be looking for retro parts. So we're gonna be doing all this today. So strap on in and let's go inside and see what deals we can find. So right behind me now is a new store that we've sort of just dropped into on the way from going from one hard off to another hard off. Now that previous hard off we just went to was really interesting because I ended up picking up a tripod, a really good tripod for around about $50 US. It's about 5,400 Japanese yen. It has a really good fluid head on it. It's exactly what I'm looking for to replace my current travel tripod, which is really, it's had its days. I mean, after 3 years of use and traveling and abuse, I need to replace it. And so I found this really good tripod, absolutely awesome. If you guys are hunting in Japan stores for parts and you need a camera tripod, I highly recommend just trying them out and seeing if you can piece one together. But besides that, computer parts, what they've got going on here is something that's changed a lot since I've been to especially this hard off. And that was they're piecing out all the PC parts now. Motherboards, memory, CPUs, they're testing everything and individually selling it. So there was really no deals for sale when it came to that hard off, except something crazy happened while I was there. I've never had this happen before. And that was, there was a foreigner, another gaijin, Dave. he walked in and tried to sell some stuff with his wife, and they gave him like nothing for his boots, and they were going to give him, I think, like cent N for his computer. So as he was walking out, I just said, how much do you want for that PC? And he just said, oh, they only offered me 1,000 yen. I was like, whoa. I took a look at it. It's got an i7 on the box. So straight away, I knew to give him. So I offered him around 6,000 yen, and he took that straight away. I also got his number because it's always cool to meet other foreigners in Japan, especially like if they talk, they're really friendly. So ended up picking up a deal that I've never got before. And now that we're at this next store here, we might as well go inside and take a look. But also Damien, he ended up getting a heap of retro stuff as well. So I guess deals are already abound. So here we are now at a completely new hard off. I've never been here before, so this should be exciting to see what's going on inside. But also at that previous place we just went to, they didn't have really any PC stuff at all. It was just retro games. But on that note, if you were into retro hunting, they had a huge selection of stuff. But with that said, let's go find ourselves some PC parts. So we just finished up at that hard off, and for PC parts, it was a complete bust. I mean, the best deals they had there were GTX 680s and GTX 770s for around 8,000 yen. They had some junk PCs, which were complete dinosaurs. But one thing that we did find there, and because we're into sort of retro stuff in general, was we found these cool old Sony mics, the ECM 870s. And when we checked out the condenser mic part inside, they were still in really good condition. So I ended up buying one for myself, and Damien ended up buying one for himself. I also got 3 DVI cables for $1 each. They always come in handy when you're getting monitors and people don't have DVI cables. And the last thing that Damien ended up picking up was this cool retro looking watch. Never seen it before, and I guess it was just one of those things that you needed but you didn't know existed. But anyway, since we're on the road, we're actually outside this store that's open 24 hours a day, and they just buy used stuff. Of course, they sell used stuff. The store is massive. We just found this on Google Maps, so we're gonna go inside and take a look. So that last place ended up being an absolute bust. I think they had like a Razer keyboard in there secondhand for like 8,000 yen. But here we are now at another hard off that I've never been to before. Damien's never been here either. We're gonna go and check out what they got inside. So we just finished up with that hard off, and it was almost a bust. I found one item in there that was really good, and that was a 16 gigabyte kit of DDR3 Vengeance memory, though the price was mediocre. It was about 7,500 yen, which would be close to around 70 USD. So it was borderline just doable. I just got that deal. But right around the corner, there is a PC depot, and sometimes they can have some really good deals on used PC parts. I've never been to this PC depot either, so it's kind of like a new tour today of stores that I've never been to see if they have deals. So we're now back at the original place that I've been to a few times. It was quite a big drive because we went way out of where we're used to going. And this place is great because you've got a PC depot, which is just here, and right next to that you've got a hard off, and they're actually really big stores between the both of them. I usually do get deals from either of these stores. I have got a lot of deals in the past. So we're gonna go in now and see what they've got. But before we got here as well, we're on the road and we quickly checked out a couple of places that were both like immediate busts. One place was selling like a HD 6870 for like $90. I knew straight away that was a ripoff. So Anyway, let's check out what's inside here. So we just finished up in there. It was a complete bust. There was 3 motherboards that were overpriced anyway. I asked them if they had any more used PC parts and they said no. Also, when it comes to filming, I've actually got this little technique now with my Sony camera where I can start recording and then close the lid, and then no one really knows I'm filming. So I can actually get footage inside the stores for you guys now, and people really don't say anything. So let's check out the last place and hopefully we can get lucky. So now we just left the last hard off and that was a complete bust. What they're doing now, at least this year compared to last year, is the whole dynamics changed. They're pulling memory out of PCs, so you've only got 2 gigabytes now with systems that they're charging around Ichiman Roxanne or about $150 for, and then anything more expensive is still just not worth it. I think they had a 7870 in there as well for around about $100. So ironically enough, Tokyo ended up being the best deals of all this time around, and I guess it starts to make sense. Places like this, I guess they don't move a lot of parts, so they've got to quickly move the parts in Tokyo because they probably get a lot of them in, so they've got to give good prices, otherwise people aren't going to want to buy them. But anyway, we did manage to get this little guy some awesome toys. He got an Indoraptor, which is an Indoraptor out of Jurassic World, and also a little Anya toy as well. So we got these toys for him, but also at the start of the day, we ended up getting a really good deal. That was just a one chance deal. I've never had that happen before. And we're gonna get home and check out what's inside that. And then of course, wrap up this parts vlog hunt. But right now we're gonna go get some dinner, aren't we? It's now the next day and we've pulled the PC apart that we picked up for 6,000 yen. Of course, this was a bargain. What we got here was a HD 5850, very old card, not really relevant for today's video games, but the rest of this package here is really awesome. 1.5 terabyte hard drive, also a H55D motherboard with an i7 870, and also behind that is a 550 watt power supply from Delta. Really good stuff. 8 gigabytes of DDR3 memory, faceplate, and also the cooler included. And here we are now at conclusion time, and we got some really good deals. In total, we paid over 1,000 USD for all these parts, but what we got was a GTX 980, GTX 780, also an X79 motherboard, 3 different CPUs, so we got that 6-core 7800X, we also got the 3930K and that i7 970. On top of that, we got 16 gigabytes of RAM in Tokyo. Then we picked up an additional 16 gigabytes of RAM while we're on the road. And of course, that last deal that we got, the whole PC, which just happened by sheer luck. I've never had that happen. I've never seen that happen before, but the person walked out after only getting offered 1,000 yen. And I quickly came in and asked them, what did they offer you? What did you take? And I gave them 6,000 yen, and they were more than happy to offer me that PC. So I was really happy with that. Awesome deal after we pulled it all apart. That was probably the best deal in terms of the enthusiast tech part. But the weirdest thing is, the polarity has shifted. I came into Japan thinking that this time, just like every other time, I'd be getting those deals outside of the city. But ironically enough, we got most of the deals in Tokyo, and they were really good deals as well. And I guess the logic behind that is in Tokyo, they're probably getting dumped so many parts on them that they have to move them so quickly, otherwise the shelf space will get flooded. And so you're going to be getting really good deals now, in my opinion, in Tokyo, as opposed to the country where they're not going to be getting a lot of enthusiast tech parts through.
and they know what those parts are worth now. We can see that now that they're pulling out all the DDR3 memory and only offering 2 gigabytes in systems that are $150 plus. And I mean, I think you can't even install Windows 10 on a system with 2 gigabytes. I think you need 4 gigabytes in total to get Windows 10 on a system, if I remember correctly. But we also got some DVI cables. They were $1 each, needed a few of those. And some really cool pickups outside of the city was that tripod. My Sony tripod's actually pretty much at its end of life. It actually doesn't work properly now. It's had a rough life. It's been a fantastic tripod. But we picked up this Velbin tripod, and it's so good for $50. It's easily rivaling that, in my opinion, of some $200 plus tripods, at least ones that I've tried. And in my opinion, it's better than some of those Manfrottos that go for $400 plus. It's very portable, very quick to adjust in terms of its height, and the pan and tilt on this thing is so fluid. So that's going to be the new travel tripod. It's awesome. The Sony, I had to retire that as it's almost broken, but I'm going to be using that for the G7, which is on the live streams. But I'm still going to be using that Sony tripod as a stationary tripod. It just won't move at all, and that'll be for live streaming. But on top of that, we also got that Sony microphone, and this is one thing that I'm not an expert in. I'm not an expert in audio gear, but I think at $20, it was a good pickup because we look at the quality. It's got 2 different purposes. You can use it as a live broadcasting mic, or you can use it as a dedicated mic. It does have a cardioid pattern, but also if we look inside, it's just well made, it's quality. And of course, over the past few years, I've learned to trust my gut, and when I do, I've always done well. It's never let me down. So I guess that's a tip if you guys are getting into deal hunting, whether it be PC parts hunting, or if it's some other field, just trust your gut. But also on that note, knowing the prices in that market is always a big factor in terms of just picking up a deal on the spot and not trying to hold out and get a better deal. For instance, the tripod, I knew at $50, it was solid. I might have found one for $10 cheaper, but chances are that I might have not found one, and that's exactly what happened. I didn't find a better one at a better price. So picking that up was a good thing because we couldn't come back and get that because it was out of the way of where we needed to go later that day. Anyway guys, hope you enjoyed today's deals hunt in Japan. If you did, then be sure to hit that like button. I did this over a day and a half. I spent the most of my time in Japan with my son, and we were just doing really cool things. Went to the Bug Museum, the Dinosaur Museum, went and saw Jurassic World, and it was just really good to see him again. I rarely open up about my personal life on the channel, but this is one of those times, and that was the real reason for coming to Japan. And things are definitely changing for the better, so you're going to see a lot more smiles on my face, especially on the content. And yeah, I've got to get back to Australia now, leave tonight, and I've got to film the Anamaga event for MSY and also film the Threadripper review, so I'll have to get them done ASAP. So they'll probably be released before this video, which will be a little bit weird because I'll be in Australia and then it'll seem like I'll be in Japan when I'm actually in Japan and then heading back to Australia. So the order will be a little bit weird, but anyway, I'll catch you guys in another tech video very soon. Peace out for now. Bye.
So get your used PC parts hunting capes on again, and let's see. It's already gone beyond my belief in terms of how good are the 747-70s, which were really cool. That guy in the background, he's doing the thing as well. So we just finished up with that hard off, and it was a bust, and except for one thing.